It's called Sex Panther. It's illegal in 9 countries. They've done studies, 60% of the time it works every time.
That doesn't even make any sense. What's going on, Kings fans? This is Zach from the We Are Los Angeles Hockey Club podcast.
And this is Wally.
And this is Dave.
Coming at you today. This is December 28th. How's everybody feeling tonight? That obviously wasn't the greatest of game against Vegas. We'll obviously be going over that. But we'll go ahead and jump right into our game recaps.
Hey, like George Costanza says, I got a point.
So we'll jump right into our game recaps. We're going to be talking about the Colorado game, the San Jose game, and also the game today with Las Vegas. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into the Colorado game. That was Brownie's 1,000th game.
How about it?
Game winner. I mean, you can't script it any better than that.
No, you can't. And it was just so poetic, man. Because I mean, you had Kopi on the ice with him when he scores that.
I think it was Doughty and Kopitar both got the assist on that, which was completely fitting.
Yeah.
No, that was
But it started off not looking
very
like
good.
it was gonna go that way.
It wasn't
You get
looking very
outshot 11 to 5 in that first period, and it looked pretty grim. Right off the top.
Colorado was playing a pretty good trap game. With us.
The first two periods, I mean, we didn't really look like we showed up at
No.
all.
No, absolutely
And then,
not.
Martinez gets that lucky goal, just bangs it on net.
Mitchell
finds
got
way
Mitchell
got
got
an assist on that as well.
Yeah,
I love the way he's playing.
Those first
he's just
two,
solidifying that third, fourth line, or that bottom six. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the way he plays as well. He is definitely reliable down there in the bottom six, and he is.
Well,
definitely
he's the only bottom six guy that can win a faceoff.
That's true.
Seemingly.
I
Absolutely.
mean, that was Nick Shore's
thing, but he's 47% right now, and it's
And
over 400 total draws off taken. So it's
maybe it's because Sutter's not breathing down his neck anymore. Who knows? But that's definitely we definitely need some more out of him as well. But I mean, if you look at the shot totals,
hey, better than McDavid, right?
I'd still take McDavid.
Well,
If you're looking at the shot totals, though, going through like the first and second period, Colorado outshot us. What is that? 21-14. That's kind of been like a reoccurring theme throughout this season when we're not playing very well. Is we're just getting completely outshot,
berated with shots.
Yeah, that bombarded. I mean, if you look at the game, granted we
bombard. Oh, I guess
we we lost. I mean, we won that game 2-1, but we were outshot 32-27. So I mean, did we deserve that win? Probably not.
Probably
Nope.
not. But
Colorado played a really mean trap that game.
yeah, and then even that game. I mean, the next game, then that transition. I mean, San Jose, our first time we got shut out all year.
which I called, by the way, immediately. I just had that feeling.
I mean, it just kind of had that. I mean, Martin Jones has been absolute garbage, and yet against us, he shows up and like always.
What's wrong, Zach?
But you know what? Who would have thought that if you would have said, "Hey, we'll score a goal in every game up until late December,"
Yeah, we would have taken it.
we would take it.
I mean, especially
before the season
especially
started.
going
Going into the season when we had
Right.
no expectations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially going from like last season compared to this one, when we were so terrible at scoring last season, but you come into this season, we're not having like the hardest time scoring goals now, which is good, but I mean, we're still not the greatest, but
It's just weird against teams like that, like San Jose, and especially like that Boston game when we lost 2-1. It's just like we really have a lot of trouble breaking through that trap, and those like good forechecking teams. It's just like San Jose, and even today against Vegas, it was really like scoring two. After seeing the way the flow of that game, I would have said no way. They just they were trapping like crazy, and
yeah, that's something that's something that San Jose is known for. It's just that their forecheck is just so intense the whole entire time. And then like you said, against teams that we've played this season, that implore such a heavy forecheck, we don't do very well. It's like I mean,
it's funny the over under on that Sharks game was 5.5. I'm like, you could have given 3.5. It would it would still go under.
Yeah.
That was pretty easy money, but
For those who don't know what the trap entails, could you maybe explain a little bit to
Yeah.
kind of what it is that's stifling the Kings here. Maybe
it's
a
basically
compact version.
new. Okay, long story short, it's neutral zone pressure and just basically breaking up our outlet passes and preventing us from getting a good zone entry into their offensive zone.
Nice.
And
so essentially, you're stacking at least 3, maybe even 4 defenders in that neutral zone, and you're sending in a forechecker on that puck. And when you're hounding that puck, and the Kings really rely on, that not long stretch breakout passes and stuff, but we are looking to get that puck, that first pass into the neutral zone. And when you have maybe a player or two standing on our blue line, an opposing player standing on our blue line like that, we just haven't had any success. I mean, it's evident against
blatant
today, San Jose, Boston, all those teams like that, and that could pose a real big problem come playoff time.
No, huge problem. I mean, you got to think about it. A lot of teams in the playoffs really do kind of lock down the neutral zone. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game in the playoffs. And if we're not doing very well right now, you got to kind of think that facing San Jose in the first round or something like that, if they make it, if we make it, facing
Rob Blake, baby, he's in all in mode. He's in win now mode. We better take that to heart and do something.
No, I agree.
And not just get Carter back. I think we need dynamic forward.
So, I mean, that's something that we can go into maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
But right. I that San Jose game just, I was taking notes and then I just stopped.
It was frustrating.
It was so frustrating to watch. Exactly, like Dave said.
I mean,
even today it was pretty frustrating that game against Vegas. Through long stretches of the game, we had 3 shots in the second period, and halfway through the third, we only had 1 shot.
It was brutal.
Finally, just.
I mean, I was pumped to see us get that goal.
We had a pushback at about the 10-minute mark. I'm looking at my notes here, and that's kind of when it turned. But still.
I was pumped when we got that goal at the very end of the game, but I mean, I kind of didn't really feel like we deserved the win or the point.
Deserve the point, but hey, you know what?
How many times have we said this since we started recording this podcast?
I mean, look at that second period though, man. They literally outshot us. What is that? 5-1, 15-3.
15-3. Yeah.
That is ridiculous, dude.
It's called domination.
It is.
I mean, did we get the 1 goal and then we just went to our shell again? I don't know.
But at times, with this team, it kind of reminds me of Daryl Sutter because it's like trying to fit the square in the circle. You know what I mean? It's not going to work.
Oh, you mean McDermott and Gravel together? That's not working?
I mean,
Shocker.
Don't get me wrong. I love, big ups to Kevin Gravel. Got in his first game this season.
I love it.
After
it's about time, Benny, man. My clothes are going out of style.
After finding out from the beginning of the season.
I pointed to Dave. He was supposed to say they already are squints.
I'm really sorry. I was half paying attention. I was looking up his ice time today. Kevin Gravel's is 12 minutes. Got 12 minutes in today.
It's not bad. But
when we got that last year,
I'm happy for him though, dude. After at the in the beginning of the season, in the off, in the training camp and stuff like that, a lot of us within the We Are Los Angeles Hockey Club, we're talking, why is Gravel, getting kind of pushed out by the likes of McDermott and stuff like that, and come to find out they had Crohn's disease, So big ups to him, man, for really kind of pushing through that, persevering, and then. It was really good to see him make his season debut tonight. And I liked the way that he played, dude. He had
some really good outlet passes tonight, and then there was one play where a guy just deked him 2-3 times, and then he hung with him, and then the guy ended up falling over too. So he did take his man out, so to speak.
I mean I know which play you're talking about, and that forward, I can't remember exactly who it was, but. He couldn't lose Gravel.
Right.
So he was just trying everything that he possibly could. And then in the end, he ended up losing the puck and falling himself, So, Kevin Gravel is a really sturdy defenseman, and I really like what he has to bring.
I mean, it's one game. Well, he'll build on that.
I hope.
Sure.
No, I hope. I hope that they keep playing him because I just, with how fast Vegas is, with how fast that, teams are in our division, I just think they're going to, skate circles around McDermott. I like what he brings. I mean, he's a big, heavy guy. But
you've mentioned it before. There is really no place for his style game
I think every
once in a while,
it reminds me of exactly like you said, every once in a while. Like remember, Kevin Westgarth, he was with us in the whole year in 2012, but he only came in maybe once every 4 games off the top of my head. You want that guy around just because it's like you see a big bruising team, you're gonna want that guy in the lineup, and then but
it gives people it's a reminder. It's a reminder
exactly.
to teams that hey. This guy will come out here and beat the shit out of you.
You mess around, you're gonna get punched.
Get messed with.
Yeah, absolutely love it. I mean,
he's a great guy to have on the team, and but hopefully.
I would just much rather Gravel and Fanberg in there.
Yeah,
either one of them.
It can't get much worse.
No, it is though because either Fanberg or Gravel are competent on their offsides. Gravel has played a lot on his offside in Ontario.
Look at last year. Mm-hmm. He was pretty good on his offside when he was up with the Kings.
Right.
I still like Gravel more than Forbert as well. I mean, look at that. I mean, granted, he didn't really get any points. He didn't really get any points tonight, but there was a point where he did get a nice little shot off. And he got it off quick.
Right.
I mean, the puck's never on his stick for very long, and I definitely like that. Before the Vegas game.
Out, right?
Yeah. Once again, his Twitter handle is glassing out. It might have some numbers at the end, but I really don't.
I wonder if his followers have gone up since you've mentioned that.
I would hope so, dude. I mean,
what a plug.
Yeah, I know. I'm not even trying to plug. Speaking of plugs, we do want to thank Grandstand Sports Network, for hosting our content and stuff. You can always catch all of our podcasts on there, all the podcasts that we've recorded.
And the articles that we've
written.
Yeah.
I did write the part 1 of the new coach rejuvenation that was about Anze Kopitar.
And then I did part 2, which was about Dustin Brown.
Yeah, I didn't do part 3 yet. I'm still working on that.
It's in route.
It's en route. Tyler Toffoli,
like
I mean, let's face it. He had a good year a couple years ago, and then last year he slipped 16 goals. Now this year he's already there. Coming back, so
he's back up there.
Exciting.
So you can be expecting that from Wally, sometime soon, sometime later, another time.
And before we go on, too, we're missing Robert today.
Oh yeah,
we didn't give him a shout out.
Yeah, we do want to give Robert a shout out. We're missing you, bud. I miss you.
I miss you too, bud.
I miss your musk.
Miss you, Robin.
So today before Vegas.
Yeah, way to steal my joke at that last time, by the way.
I know, I had to.
I appreciate that.
No, I had to because nobody was saying it.
He had to steal it because I stole Carlson and Lundqvist from him in a trade for Sergachev and Scott Darling. So.
That's all right. I mean, my fantasy season has gone to complete and utter disrepair, man. I just.
Don't even look at me, Wally. Don't even look at me.
I've given up on.
10-1.
I've given up on fantasy hockey this season.
I'm just starting my active players every day.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not actively seeking trades or anything.
Shea Weber is on the block, just so everyone knows. I've said this a million times.
Just put him on IR. Pick up somebody else.
So today before the Vegas game, we did celebrate Dustin Brown. Right? I mean, that was a beautiful tribute. If you didn't get to see it, just because. NBCSN, which is bullshit. They were. I mean, NBCSN, if you're catching the listen, hey man, you're at the end of the game of the Caps and the Bruins. Let those fans switch over to the app so they can watch that. Let us get the LA fans and whatnot. Let us get to see our tribute for our longtime captain that raised the Stanley Cup twice. That kind of irked me a bit.
Games, man. He was
very impressive.
Patrick O'Sullivan the other day on air said he's only the 317th person to ever play 1,000 games in the NHL.
And I think can't remember the exact number, but it's in
a
the
lot
30s.
Fewer with one team.
With one team, it's in the 30s. Yeah. Congratulations to Dustin Brown. He absolutely deserved the praise that he got today. If you haven't checked out Dave's article about Dustin Brown, make sure to head over to Grandstand Sports Network. You'll be able to catch his article about Dustin Brown so far this season, and compared to the last couple seasons. But he has completely churned around any sort of notion that he was done.
I have to absolutely 100% agree, and you can find all of that in that article. I won't give too much away.
So dope.
Speaking of articles, that Players Tribune article, when Tim Leiweke comes in, he says, "I'm not fucking trading you, Brownie," and he goes out and gets a hat trick against Chicago.
What I wish to be like the
I was at work.
Like the equipment manager or something.
Just a fly on the wall?
Yeah, something.
Dude, I was at work. I dropped trout at work earlier, and
I was there.
you while I was in the stall next to me. I was actually reading through that article, and I kind of got a little misty-eyed when I was reading it a couple times, just because of what he said. I mean, I can't imagine as a player, and especially as a captain, so many like rumors and speculations swirling around, especially when you, number one, made Los Angeles your home, which I absolutely love that he made Los Angeles his home. He loves Los Angeles. Yep. Just to have those kind of, trade, rumors and everything kind of, circling around his head. And then, like you said, man, when he came in the room and when I read that, dude, I was like, yes, that's so sick. But congratulations to Dustin Brown. He absolutely deserved all the praise that he got today. The 1000th game. So that begs the question: does he get his jersey retired with the Los Angeles Kings?
100%, absolutely, positively, yes. That will go up. Probably year, 2 years after he retires, tops.
Absolutely, 100% agree. He totally deserves to be up there, and I will say this right now: definitely deserves a statue. He gets a statue for sure.
I'm going to agree with both of you that he does get his jersey retired.
You don't think he gets a statue?
No.
Wow.
I don't think that he does.
I don't see how he wouldn't. I mean, just had him hoisting the cup.
I am going to tell you guys why. Is because there's already a statue in front of the Staples Center with him holding the cup up. So I don't see the reason to give him his own statue by himself with the Stanley Cup hoisted. Did you guys forget about that?
Oh, yeah.
No, but
I did. I haven't been to a game all year. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, he technically has a statue. But I mean,
give him his own individual one.
I definitely agree that, he is going to get his jersey retired. Didn't you pull up some numbers on the jerseys that we do have retired?
I did. So, I think it's hockeyreference.com. I can't remember where I got it from. So we have Marcel Dion up there.
I mean, the Staples Center in the corner.
Right. I'm just, but the numbers, though. I'm talking games played. The one thing that Dion, Taylor, Gretzky, Robitaille, and Blake have in common is they've all played over 1,000 games. The one thing they also have in common is that they never rose the Stanley Cup here. As great as those numbers are, that Stanley Cup kind of supersedes all of that.
I don't know if you have those numbers off the top, if you have the numbers off the top of your head, or if you even got them. But how many of those players actually played 1,000 games with the Kings? One.
Dave Taylor. So Brownie's number 2.
He's gonna get his jersey retired.
Yeah.
100%. But then that we were kind of talking about this earlier. We have 4 locks, don't you think?
4 locks.
4
8,
locks.
11, 23, 32.
100%.
100%. Hey, maybe even 77 if Jeff Carter finishes his career in LA and gets 500 goals. I don't see. I mean, eventually down the line, I don't see how you can't retire that if that happens.
77?
Maybe. We'll go 4.5.
Dude, this generation, or this like core of the Kings teams that we've had. I mean, I do kind of have to agree 100% with 8, 11, 23, 32 for sure going up in the rafters.
It won't be number 6. Sorry, Kevin.
No Jake Muzzin up there. But I just don't know 100% so much about Jeff Carter going up there. I mean,
yeah, I don't either. No, and that's the thing, But if he finishes with LA and gets 500 goals,
that's easy.
All right,
I think that's.
How about we ask this question, just to kind of go a little step further? Does Dustin Brown make it into the Hockey Hall of Fame?
Well, I say no, but I mean the way the Hall of Fame is trending with let everybody in, and no, I can't picture him in.
Neither can I. That one's tough.
I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
Because he is the only American-born player to raise the Stanley Cup twice. Only.
So it definitely supersedes his.
Oh, captain. Yeah, captain.
That definitely supersedes his numbers.
He's the only one that's done it.
I don't know. I don't think Justin Williams gets in, and he's Mr. Playoff, Mr. Clutch. Who knows? The NBC sports announcer, I don't know who it was today, but he said Bergeron is a lock for the Hall of Fame, and it got me thinking, if he's a lock, that opens up a Pandora's box of just all those very good, Hall of Very Good, so to speak, and
I think Dustin Brown makes it. I think he does, personally. Just because of what he's done.
Kopitar makes it. I think ultimately Doughty makes it.
Same.
Maybe quick.
You know what would lock Kopitar into
a third Stanley Cup?
Well, no, not just the third Stanley Cup, but the first Stanley Cup risen by a Slovenian captain. Number one, he is the first Slovenian captain in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But then number two, he'd be the first Slovenian captain to actually lift the Stanley Cup. So I think that would maybe possibly lock him into place for the actual. Hockey Hall of Fame, but I personally think Dustin Brown's going to get in.
So we're all in agreement. Definitely, nobody's getting retired.
Yeah, this jersey's getting retired, 100%. No statue, because there kind of already is one.
But maybe. But who knows?
I mean, if Shaq can get his own statue, I guess.
Hanging off the side of Staples.
But on the real though, dude, like. Are they just gonna line the sidewalks of that building with just statues?
Because Kobe's gonna get one for sure.
No,
obviously. Did you say Kobe?
Oh, Kobe, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said Kobe. I was like, oh.
Well.
Oh yeah.
Because hockey's more of a I mean, I know basketball's like a team sport and stuff, but Kobe and Shaq kind of carry those teams on their backs to win those rings. I mean, the whole entire Kings team had to win those Stanley Cups.
I think that's fair.
So.
Anyway, we digress.
We digested.
On our way to Vancouver.
Yeah, so we're going to be going on a pretty difficult 3-game road trip coming up here. We're going to be facing the Vancouver Canucks, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Calgary Flames. So we're going to kind of go into maybe some predictions, what we kind of think is going to happen. We'll go ahead and start with you, Dave. What do you think?
I think we turn around here. We go 2-1.
I like that.
Vancouver, they are under 500, so I would definitely expect the Kings to just try to pounce on them early on.
Missing Bo Horvat, dude. Nick Dowd is.
There's all sorts of issues in Vancouver.
Strub's unexpected retirement. That was interesting.
So you think
they did put up 5 against Chicago today, so they're gonna,
they're not a
roll over.
Yeah, they're not a pushover. Nobody in the Pacific is a pushover this season.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
Well, not against us.
Not against us.
Of course not.
They play against us.
So you're thinking that we're going to do pretty decent against the Canucks?
I would imagine so. You would hope so.
Yeah. And that's Saturday. That game is on Saturday at 7 p.m. I believe that one you should be able to pick up on Fox Sports West.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just in case you didn't have NBCSN.
That one's on FSW. The Edmonton game is unfortunately on NBCSN. I definitely go and think the Kings are going to win that game.
In Edmonton.
Edmonton is also under 500.
They got McJesus.
Yeah, they do. But
they got Milan Lucic, their savior.
Dude, every time I see Milan Lucic, it's like
what could
it's like that meme of Wolverine laying on the bed, and it if he has a picture.
I do not at all. He's not going to age well, and I am
he's
so
not.
glad.
He's not aging well.
Even though, granted, Dean did try with that 8-year last-ditch effort contract.
I'm just
glad that he's
absolutely thrilled that we did not sign Lucic long term. Oh God, we definitely avoided a bullet with that one.
I definitely have to agree with that. I was a little bummed out at first, but his style game doesn't. It's not the example of longevity.
Just one second,
for sure.
1 second here. Can we talk about why Edmonton is under 500? Do we not have enough time? Edmonton is under 500.
Are you guys down to record another hour and a half?
They keep trading away their guys like Taylor Hall and Eberle, and that's sure enough that's what they need. They think that they're going to get their replacements, and Jesse Puljujarvi drafted 4th overall a couple years ago.
2 drafts ago, yeah.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, with Patrick Laine, right?
Yeah, with Laine and then
Matthews
and Pierre-Luc
Dubois.
Luc Dubois. It's so funny because Columbus had the 3rd overall pick, and you really thought that their Finnish GM Jarmo Kekalainen would draft the Finn Puljujarvi, but no, he needed a center, so he Drafted PLD, and look what he's doing right now.
He's actually playing pretty decent for Columbus. Yeah.
Oh.
Big body too. Kid's big.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's just crazy to think that Edmonton, with like the firepower that they have, are just playing so
they're underachieving.
Uninspired. No, it's just uninspired. I don't know if it's because McClellan's lost a room, but they're just so like they're watching them play is just really
painful.
Yeah, man. They just don't look like they want to be there.
Out for a bit, and Laurent Brossois, not really a proven NHL backup.
Well, they were like a lock for the playoffs in the beginning of the year.
A lot of people picked them to win the Stanley Cup. I mean,
yeah. So you think
Boomer Gordon on NHL radio? That was his.
So you think we're gonna lose against Calgary, Dave?
I think it's gonna be a tight game, but ultimately it feels like one of those ones we might blow in
Mike
third.
Smith. I mean, he always seems to come play well against us.
What do you think we're gonna do in the road trip?
1-1-1, exactly like we did on this stretch.
Mediocre. You believe the mediocre play continues?
It's the mediocre doldrums.
Yeah, I mean it's December, end of December, January.
Turn it right back on after the.
We just gotta wait till after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
We gotta keep it afloat until Carter gets back. But good thing we banked all these wins early, and
yes,
we kind of get away with like a minor skid.
We can. I'm gonna go kind of bold here. I'm gonna go 2-0-1. I think that we are going to lose in overtime against Vancouver, win in Edmonton, and win in Calgary. That's what I'm going with. I mean that would be my ideally I'd love to go 3-0-0, but Vancouver, just because of what they did against Chicago tonight, I kind of have a feeling we're gonna lose in overtime against them. But Edmonton, I'm not gonna say they're a pushover, but like I was saying, their play is just so lackluster.
Are turning back the clock, by the way. Speaking of Vancouver, with their injuries, they're really stepping up with the Steens and.
But I think that we're gonna go into Calgary, and you doubt it. I don't know. For some reason, I can't say Calgary.
There you go.
But I like to say Calgary.
He's right. It is Calgary.
Yeah, but I like to say it like that because I like to say it properly, Dave. Thanks. But I think we're going to go in there. Doughty is going to be a little bit more pumped up to play in Calgary, especially against Tkachuk.
I hope he doesn't let his emotions get the better of him. Like he did tonight. That was a dumb boarding penalty.
Yeah, that was. Dude, Marshall, I can't say his name. Jonathan Marshall, he just has one of those faces, though, dude, that I just want to punch.
Punchable?
Yes, man, just
absolutely.
Him and David Perron, dude. It's like they couldn't pick. Like they picked two of the biggest dickheads in the world and put them onto one team, and it's just they just get under your skin. Oh.
But you love to have those type of guys on your
team. I'd like to have Marshall on the Kings.
That's a hard one to say.
Yeah,
I love Marchessault on our team.
He's only 27.
I mean, last year, and he made $750,000 last year,
and scored 30 goals.
Yep, exactly.
And they pulled him out of I think they pulled him out of either the KHL or a Swiss league, dude. I mean, he wasn't really doing a whole lot. So that's kind of what we're thinking with this. The predictions for this road trip. Now, speaking of that, we're gonna kind of give a little bit of an injury update. Fullen was skating. But he had the red jersey on, so he's skating with no contact, which is definitely a good sign. Hopefully, when he comes back, they scratch and send down McDermott. Okay. That would be the ideal. But like we're talking about,
apparently with the clarification, he is waivers exempt. So
that's what I mean. They can just go right down. Bye, Felicia.
Toodaloo.
Yeah. So. There still is no timetable on Jeff Carter. Some people said January. Some people said February.
Jim Fox said March. I don't know.
Trade deadline is what day this year? Do you know off the top of your head?
March 3rd.
So it kind of
off
is
like my head. I don't know yet.
So, with that being said, and we kind of alluded to it a little while ago with Jeff Carter. Some Kings heads have said, the Kings would be in a lot different of a place if we had Jeff Carter, which I kind of agree with, just because it would be great.
So for reference, it is the NHL trade deadline is Monday, February 26th.
Oh, my birthday, my 33rd. I will be at Staples against Vegas Golden Knights.
There it is.
So I wonder if we're going to pull off something for Colin Miller. I wish.
The Colin Miller at Brayden McNabb.
The
that was
pairing
our
of the
second
future.
Pairing of the future.
Oh, dude, when I saw you comment that made me laugh so hard. So with what we were just talking about, Jeff Carter possibly being out to March or whatever. Like I was saying, some Kings talking heads have said, well, if Carter was back, the Kings would be in a lot different of a place, and I sort of agree. But the only reason why I kind of disagree with that is because of the simple fact against these faster teams, our defense just cannot keep up. Dowdy looks good, Muzzin looks good, Martinez looks decent.
Yeah, decent.
Those three can play against faster teams, and they can get pucks out decently against faster teams. But what are we going to do?
We can't, rely on playing Dowdy 30 minutes a night
No, we cannot.
Every game.
Especially if we're really trying to make a push in the playoffs. You can't have Dowdy towards the end of the season playing that high.
But I mean, thank God we got Darcy Kemper so that we can rest Jonathan Quick a little bit, because Darcy Kemper is still the only goalie without a regulation loss, I believe.
100%.
He's been solid, but one thing that I have seen some Kings talking heads bring up, and I absolutely 100% agree, is that the Kings should definitely look at getting a top 4 defenseman, preferably a right shot. I would definitely. I mean, getting Carter back at the
right shot, I would say like
just a top 4 defenseman.
On, somebody like Scandella of Buffalo, or I was thinking, if Vancouver, if they go in the tank, I was thinking, Chris Tanev. I mean, remember that 2012 playoff series? He was just such a bitch to play against. But he's injured. He's a name, and they're kind of want to move some assets potentially.
And that would be
a
good kid to slot behind Drew Doughty.
Yeah,
he's more of a
stay-at-home guy.
He's more of a stay-at-home.
Muzzin probably on that second pair.
Ooh, that'd be a fire second pair.
Or even if we keep Muzzin up there, just Fantenberg or Martinez like that up there. So I don't know, just kind of throwing some names around there.
Play it by ear, I guess. Wait and see.
It hasn't failed us now.
No, it hasn't. No, we're still second place in the division. But I mean, I think if we do start to take a real bad nosedive, I mean, I still do think the Kings need a legitimate 2C right now. Kempe, while he is having a decent rookie year,
37% in faceoffs. That's not
heinous.
Cut it.
No, it's not, especially as a 2C.
You're taking important face-offs towards the stretch of the game.
Ottawa's nosediving, man. Maybe Derek Brassard. Who knows?
Matt Duchene.
Said it a million times.
But the problem with that though is like when you have a second center like that who's terrible in the faceoff dot, you're playing Kopitar way too many minutes, because now you have to bring Kopi out there to take those big draws.
Absolutely. Or put somebody like Mitchell out there who's been great on the draws, in a role that maybe he's not too particularly comfortable with, like guarding top 6 forwards.
Yeah. No. So. I think if the Kings nosedive, I think that we should definitely start to look into something like that. But one of the things that one of our longtime followers, his name is Stuberto, Stuart Solomon. We miss you over here in the South Bay, bruh. He wants us to kind of go into maybe a little World Junior talk.
Well, that would be my show. Team Sweden, baby. No, the consensus number 1 pick in the draft next year is a defenseman by the name of Rasmus Dahlin from Sweden. He's a left shot. Oh, he's fast. He can move the puck. Oh man, he's already has 4 assists in these 2 games, both victories.
One of our prospects playing for the Sweden team is Jacob Rivera.
Yeah.
Anything on him?
Other than he doesn't have any points, so he hasn't factored on the score sheet. But Sweden's only allowed 2 goals in their 2 games, so.
And they've always you
would think that he'd be in the more of that shutdown role.
Thanks to Robert on this, but somebody had kind of maybe equated him to like another Victor Hedman, except for his skating was atrocious.
Yeah, look at how bad Hedman's skating was. I mean, it wasn't very bad, but back in the day, it was. He improved on it. Obviously.
And he's had a decent season with his OHL team.
And then let's see. Well, Kel Clegg got injured blocking a shot. The good news is in their first game, the good news is his X-rays were negative.
Yeah,
it was just a bruise, right?
He didn't play this game today. They won 6-0, but they didn't need him.
No.
I mean, they got guys who can jump in.
Canada and U.S. are playing tomorrow, right? Outdoors.
The outdoor games.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, if it doesn't snow and it's not a blizzard.
Yeah. with USA they did wipe out the Danish team. I believe that was either 9 or 10.
10-0.
10-0.
But lost today to Slovakia.
Yeah.
Mikey
We just
Anderson
saw that right
did have a couple, which is a Kings prospect as well. He did have a couple opportunities backdoor. He didn't pot one, but
well, it was close at the end of the game the other day, and then they waved it off because it was so much of a blowout.
They felt bad for him. But one kid who's really stand out for Team USA right now is Casey Middlestat, man. That kid is in fuego.
Buffalo should just take him right now. Take him out of Buffalo, out of the juniors, and put him into the roster.
Put him into the roster.
Right there.
I mean, he's already there. But I mean, I was listening to the broadcast, or I was listening to the intermission report.
They need another center too, right?
And they were talking about how, the kid is getting used to playing in Buffalo already, man, and he's actually been playing really decent for Team USA. So keep your eyes out on him.
Speaking of Buffalo, I was engaged in a Twitter conversation with Chad DiDomenicis, the guy who runs Die by the Blade, and he was saying that he could see a potential call up, for the 9 games, so it doesn't burn a year off his entry level contract. But that's only if Minnesota does not make a deep playoff run in the NCAA Frozen Four. So, because if they do, then
they're going to need him.
Then they're going to need him, and then they won't, Buffalo won't call him up. So, something to keep an eye out for if Minnesota.
Kid's just fire, man. He's just so good.
He was fire. And then take your pick of Canadian defensemen too. I mean, Victor Mete. He's right now he's on the Canadians. And they just go to juniors, and he was dominating. Another Jake Bean, Carolina Hurricanes defense prospect. Man, they are stacked on defense, both now and in the future.
Yeah,
it's
but it's like the Kings and Carolina really do have some very good defensive prospects. With the amount of D prospects that we have in the World Juniors and them as well. Those teams, us and the Kings and Carolina.
I really like our starting to get our forward depth too. I mean, Flaherty was supposed to make his debut today for Windsor Spitfires. I did not see him on the box score, so
I don't think he got into the game today.
And that's a back injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did have back injury, and that is something.
He was cleared to play, and he was.
That's something that's really hard to come back from too, is a back injury. As someone who has a bad back, bacchiotomies are really
you're
terrible.
Still struggling with it, so.
Oh yeah, my back's always killing me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, from carrying the podcast every night.
Every single night.
Well, it's just because people love the sound of the sultry sounds.
It's
of my
good
voice.
bass. You have good bass in your voice.
I'm all about that bass. About that bass.
About that bass.
No treble.
None.
So we're gonna go into Wally's picks.
Oh.
Okay, put me on the spot here. I think that Edmonton tomorrow against the Blackhawks. Blackhawks had no effort tonight. They had Forsberg, so who are they going to put their backup? Jeff Glass, who had the easy job in that the 2005. He was on that Canadian roster, the World Juniors, arguably the greatest junior team ever assembled, and then he hasn't. I don't think he's done anything since. So he might be playing tomorrow. So I'd look for that.
You got Calgary and at Anaheim tomorrow, right?
Hey, Calgary did win in Anaheim, but Anaheim didn't have anybody healthy. I'm going with the Ducks too.
I agree with you. I mean, they got Kessler back. Who knows,
that might make them lose.
Even though Ryan Kessler in his first game back was a -3 with 2 shots. I mean, this is his first game back, but the Ducks are looking absolutely terrifying now.
Okay, and I got one more.
Yeah.
Winnipeg is playing the New York Islanders. 10 goals, Dave. What do you think?
I'm gonna say no.
Oh, come on. There's no fun in that. No,
I'm gonna say no. Absolutely not.
But those teams do, have their.
But Scheifele's out though.
Scheifele for Gensel.
I hate you. Don't ever bring it up again. I mean, hey, it worked out for me for a while, dude.
Oh, it did, and it worked out in the stretch.
Was that a league-approved trade?
Okay, when Malkin went down and Gensel filled in at the 2C, he was killing it, and then Malkin came back and Gensel just kind of.
Bye, Felicia.
See you later.
But
au revoir.
So we're gonna go into our. Yeah, that's something that a reoccurring thing for the podcast. I'm gonna start it off calling you out, Alex Iafallo. Where you been, homeboy? You were benched tonight against
Right in that pine play.
yeah, against Las Vegas. You're just not cutting it right now, man. You're getting top line minutes,
Ineffective.
and you're being ineffective. I mean, there's nothing else.
That's why we changed up the lines today.
Yeah.
Put Pearson up there,
but even Pearson wasn't very effective either.
No.
it's stealing my thunder because that's who my call it is. Tanner Pearson. Come on, you're on the top line now with Kopitar, Brown. No excuse. You got to produce.
I'm gonna do an easy one here. I'm gonna do the entire team. Wake up, guys! Seriously, I get it. It's the holidays, but let's bring it together after the new year and let's get back on track.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. So this is Zach.
This is Wally.
And this is Dave.
We're signing out for the We Are Los Angeles Hockey Club podcast. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook. Just search the We Are Los Angeles Hockey Club. You can also follow us on Twitter at We Are LAHC.
And then also, grandstandsports.com.
Yep. grandstandsportsnetwork.com. You can catch all of our content. Once again, this is Zach.
This is Wally.
And this is Dave.
Mock.
Yeah.
See.
See.
Yeah.